buzzword right now, engagement. From a business perspective, there's a reason that people are trying to get their employees engaged more in really the work environment they have. Let me ask you that. Well, let me read this definition. There's so many of these definitions on what it is, but I love this definition. It says that engagement is a heightened emotional connection that an employee feels for his or her organization that influences him or her to exert greater discretionary effort to his or her work. So it's basically like, a level of interest that an employee feels about his or her job. That's how you can really look at it, right? How interested is that person in being at that job, doing those tasks day in, day out for that employer? And what they found is that someone that is deeply engaged is someone that is committed, someone committed to his or her company. You have it where that person brings this positive attitude to work and actually has greater productivity. Okay, that makes sense. That sounds good. It shows that these same people that are more engaged are more profitable for their companies. It shows they're more customer focused, and also that it really leads to greater employee retention. People want to stay in those situations. So the best performing companies now know that they have to be engaging their employees in ways that are meaningful, or else they might lose them. So one of the things so there's a lot of factors that lead to engagement. One of the key drivers of many is pride and loyalty. Okay, pride and loyalty is a big one because when it comes down to it, it's like how much self-esteem does that employee feel being associated with that company? Just being a part of it just being there is not enough. But if you can increase that your pride and loyalty in the company, that employee will do more. I want you to think about some of those experiences that you closed your eyes and thought about. When you think about who offered those kinds of experiences, imagine if that was your employer, and your employer offered you an experience that allowed you to give back to the community. It made you feel good about who you were, and would you feel then better about who you worked for? And truthfully, as a lot of you nod your heads, the answer is yes, and statistics are showing that as well. I love this. There's a study. We all know that the company Timberland, and there's a program that they run called the Path of Service, and it's an unbelievable program. It allows their employees to take 40 hours a week off, not without pay, on company time, to give back to organizations that they care about. They have weekly ways for employees to give back to the community, at their offices, at their stores. They have so many ways for people to give back to the community, and again, ways that are meaningful to them and meaningful as a company. Well, they wanted to find out from a business perspective what value that had. So we're doing this program. So what? We're making a good impact. Sure. But what does it mean? And so they did this study, and they found out that every company loses 1% of the workforce that they would like to retain in a given year. Okay? 1%. So for them, they kind of figured that out, and they figured that is about 55 people. Now, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, to replace an employee that leaves actually costs $30,000. The hiring, the interview process, all that stuff put together costs $30,000. So then what they did is they did a study on the path of service and really the value that people put on that program. And they found that 70% of the people that participated from Timberland in these types of, in their path of service programs, that 70% of them say that the path of service is the leading reason that they want to stay with Timberland. So I did the math. 70% of those 55 people would actually stay, not go. Then we're saving over $1 million a year. Huh. That's pretty impressive. Now, mind you, I know we have our event hats on here. People are saying, now, wait a minute, so if I do a program that gives back to the community, how much money am I going to save? Well, there's a different value to that, but it's all part of it. And one of the things that they found is that, that's out there now is that companies that have these programs where they've really integrated community service into who they are, into their brand, they are reaping the benefits. I mean, look at this.